think that's symbolic at the very least. I don't know if it was intentionally so or not, but I'm afraid that as we think about what's happening now with the appeasement of Iran, and by the way, the appointment to high office of a whole series of people who have been associated directly with the government of Iran and or its influence operations in the United States. In fact, we have a paper that will be coming out today at the Center for Security Policy on this subject, making note, among others, that a fellow by the name of Chaz Freeman apparently will be the chairman of the National Intelligence Council. Chaz Freeman was formerly the ambassador to Saudi Arabia, also a senior embassy official in China. He has been active since he left government service promoting anti-Israel causes and, in particular, the imperative of accommodating Iran. It's hard to imagine that things could get worse than the National Intelligence Estimate that was prepared in December 2007, which absurdly claimed that Iran had gone out of the nuclear weapons business. But if it's possible, ladies and gentlemen, it will be done on Chaz Freeman's watch. So, what do we do about this? Which is really the lead into why we're all here. Obviously, I think there are a number of things that it makes sense for us to do, and I would encourage your several organizations to join forces behind them. Some of them may be more familiar or comfortable to you, but I think all of them make sense. I think we have to maintain a missile defense in the face of the burgeoning threat of ballistic missile attack from places like Iran. I personally believe we should maintain a base of forward operations in Iraq, which has the best hope of being a check on Iranian ambitions. I hope you will help the Netanyahu government, assuming that's what comes next in Israel, resist the pressure that will be applied to it by the United States government to make territorial concessions that I believe will threaten the very existence of the state of Israel. But in particular, there's something that each and every one of you can do that would make a real difference. That has come to be called by my friend Roger Robinson, who invented it, terror-free investing. The idea is very simple. And thanks to his good work and that of Senator Deutsch and other legislators around the country, we have seen a number of different options developed whereby organizations, individuals, foundations, and governments, public pension funds in particular, can ensure that their financial assets are not in the service of people like that Iranian regime that are trying to destroy this country. Roger will tell you more about some options that are now developing that make this much easier than when Senator Deutsch helped pass the legislation here in Florida that took the rather blunt approach of trying to get the pension funds to divest. There are other measures that are now coming onto the market that will make this, I think, both essentially cost-free and very easy for even the individual investor to ensure that their funds are not in service of causes totally at odds with their values and their personal and physical security. As The Economist magazine said in an article about this a couple of months back, not with my money. And I think that's a good leitmotif for both what we're here to do today and what I hope you will do to help us contend with the threat that Iran and these other terrorist states represent to all of us. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Frank. And I join him in thanking you all for the opportunity to be here at the Federation and to hopefully stay engaged with you on this new campaign. I also want to thank Elise and other organizers here that have really dedicated enormous time and energy to make this event happen, and also, of course, to sustain it, which is the key. And I'm very keen to be part of trying to help on the latter side, that is, not only describe what's now possible for all of us to join the war on terror for the first time as individuals, federations, foundations, institutions, something that we've never had the opportunity to do before, frankly, and how to move this across the country. I was very heartened to see UANI, United Against the Nuclear Iran, come forward with its rollout, so to speak, a full-page ad in the Wall Street Journal that many of you may have seen. That's just the beginning of an effort, I believe, to identify those companies, or at least a number of the leading companies, that are providing the kind of vital life support to Iran that Frank Gaffney has been talking about. After all, this is about advanced equipment, technology, revenue streams, and it's often the kind of technology that, as we call it in the security business, is dual use. Namely, it has civilian and military applications, and in the hands of the wrong folks, which they decidedly are, the chances of diversion of those revenues to actual terror groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, others, and taking what may seem to be an innocent piece of equipment. I'll give you an example. A kidney stone smashing machine like a lithotripter has, small, high-powered electrical switches as part of its internal mechanism. Well, taken in a series of 20, they also constitute a very efficient nuclear detonator. And so Saddam Hussein, this is a live example, in the late 90s, ordered 20 sets of the replacements, or actually 100, for this little switch that German company Siemens was happy to provide. Very small amount of money, we're talking a few $100,000. And it was only with U.S. intelligence and finally contacting German intelligence that they pieced this puzzle together and recognized the lethality, the shocking actual use of this kind of technology. And of course, Siemens, not only when this went public, took a hit to its reputation, but also its stock price. So this is now, again, a circumstance where companies that we all hold in portfolio, knowingly or unknowingly, I'm sure it's the latter, that are providing this kind of life support to Iran. And it's not just the 19 energy companies, although that's an excellent start, that the state of Florida, Ted Deutsch and others have brought attention to, that many states are replicating. But our data demonstrates there are probably 370 odd companies that are in the category of providing active, non-humanitarian ties, equipment, technology, revenues of the dangerous type that I'm describing. So it tells you that there's more than just a sampling out there. And that's why terror-free investing needs to be a very studied effort, because as you can imagine, companies are going in and out of Iran all the time. They are issuing quite a siren song right now in terms of promises of revenues and orders for the Japanese, the Germans, others, who in this time of financial distress are thrilled to hear that if you're Komatsu, that they're going to buy, 200 more of your earth-moving machines this year because your traditional markets are in trouble. I mean, I go to Japan frequently on this, and this is the story that you're hearing. It's an actual ramp-up of business because of, again, the global slowdown. So I would urge that